A very good morning to everyone present here. Today marks the second day of our two-day national conference on empowering voices in Northeast India. In continuation of our media talk series from yesterday, I am pleased to introduce our special invitees for today's technical session. First, we have Mr. Pradeep Panjobam, the editor of Imphal Review of Arts and Politics. Next, we have Mr. Ningthaukhongjam Satyajit, the Chief Bureau of United News of India. I request our volunteers to help present the Lengyan to our special guests. Sir, you can take a seat. Please take a seat. First, let's have the Lengyan presenting ceremony. Everyone, please give a round of applause.
Yeah, sure. And this is a picture. I'm going to go opening video. I think yeah. Somebody guys has to file guys.
Download the label.
I will speak in English. Is it English or Manipuri? English. Oh, okay. So, yeah. So we will start with English and then see if we can switch to Manipuri. And the reason I wanted to use the slides is because I wanted to show some visuals, because the visuals tell a story which words sometimes cannot express as much. I will start with this picture. This is a very famous picture used. Yeah. Okay. So. This is a picture at the Arlington graveyard in the U.S., where all the war soldiers killed in wars abroad are buried. And there is a fiancé of one of those killed praying there. And Arlington grave is a huge graveyard, and a lot of people come every day to offer their obeisance or their love to their lost ones. And here is one woman doing the same thing. So in a journalistic enterprise, how do you actually cover this story? That's one of the biggest challenge of covering something which is traumatic, something which is beyond the visible. So I can also switch to Manipur. That if you were to report as a journalist, you'll be going there and then taking the data, objective reporting. How many people come there? So every day there are 200 people coming. Of them, 50 are children. Those kind of reporting you'll be doing. And then the flowers they bring, they leave behind there. And that becomes a mess. So everybody, they have to have cleaners. And there are so many, 500 gravestones there. And many of them are from, Oklahoma. Most of them are from slightly backward states like Oklahoma. I think you'll be writing those kind of stories. But what about the story of this woman there? Can you ever write that story? That's the thing about the impossibility of representing something which is very subjective. This woman will be experiencing something which is not what you're reporting. You're reporting something else, but there is no way you can actually perfectly and accurately cover what is in her mind at the moment. She could be thinking about the church, like an ice cream together. So many things are there, which is a different world altogether. But you can never represent that story, because it is beyond just the verbal communication or written communication. It has to be understood, which is what so many trauma scholars are actually saying, that there are certain things you can do. I mean, and we have to begin with that. I will just go a little deeper into that. But there's another picture. This is from the same graveyard. One son. This is the mother. She lost her son, and again the same story. How do you represent that? The personal trauma of that woman is something else other than those numbers that we talk about. In usual journalism, you'll be doing just the objective reporting. So there is something beyond the objective. This is what all the trauma writers are saying, that you cannot actually represent everything, the reality, total reality, by just covering the objective side of the story. There was a fight in Iraq, and there was a bomb explosion, and the son got killed, and he was buried there. He took 2 days for the authorities to bring back the body. All the body back was not enough. The plane had to take a detour, and it took a little longer time. And relatives waited for them at the airport. Those kind of stories you'll be doing. Those are the only information that's available to you. But what's inside that mother's mind is not something that you can cover anymore. So this is what trauma writers have been telling us, trauma scholars. And I begin with the one very well-known scholar, Dominic LaCapra. He's done a book called Writing History, Writing Trauma. And there he gives a number of examples. And also, in the current trouble that we see in Manipur. So I switch to Manipuri, or you prefer this way? In the current trauma, for instance, that of the Cookies and the Métis, Cookies-Os and the Métis fighting, we have seen reporters of this same event by different journalists coming in from outside, as well as journalists. So this kind of problem Dominic LaCapra deals with. And so many other authors, I'll refer to some of them. Dominic LaCapra is talking about the subjective analyst. A subject analyst, he calls it. The subject of that problem, analyzing that problem. Like people like me, sitting here, part of that problem, but I'm writing about a problem. This has some problem. And there are also people coming in from outside who are not involved with this problem at all, and writing about this. And they will call themselves the objective observer and all that. They have their own kinds of problems. And some of these is highlighted in this book by Dominic Capra. He's an American scholar, and I don't remember which university he teaches in now, but he's done a number of books, and he's done a lot of studies on the Holocaust trauma. During the Second World War, 60 lakh people were killed by the Nazis in the concentration camps. The Jews were killed, and he writes about this particular they call it the Shoah or the Holocaust. And here there are so many angles he brings out, but I'll just touch one or two of them. There are certain things that you cannot just say. Even that picture, that woman. Let's go back to that picture. This picture, that woman. If you go and ask her what is in your mind, she will not be able to say much. No, because she is into that trauma, and maybe she doesn't feel that people will not understand her. If she says too much, they will still think that she's exaggerating. They will try to standardize her trauma, and she may not be able to say much. For instance, if in the case of Manipur, one guy when this our insurgency right now again is happening, somebody gets shot. You're a woman, her husband gets shot in front of her, killed. At that moment, she's in trauma. The reporters ask her, what do you feel about this problem? She's just going to cry. I feel terrible. Nothing more she'll still be able to say. But you come back to that same woman 10 years later, after she has settled down, overcome that trauma, and probably remarried, and then you come and ask her, what did you feel about that particular problem when your first husband was shot? Again, she will be inhibited by certain other forces, maybe a sense of shame or guilt that she is married again, she has new children, and all that, and she will not be able to say. So some traumatic experience will never be claimed. And there's another book by somebody called Kathy Carrot, also named Unclaimed Experiences. She's dealing with these unclaimed kind of experiences, that you are so much in trauma that you're not able to claim it. As I said that, that's now the example that I gave. So those kind of things are very much there in trauma writing. And in La Capra's writing, I just give you the example, the categories that he talks about. The subject analyst, people who are writing from here, normally will tend to suffer from what he calls the fidelity to trauma, that you think your trauma is more than any other party's trauma. So you are concentrating only on your trauma. And then that trauma becomes that experience, the imagination of that trauma. You become obsessed with that. And then that fidelity to trauma happens. And then after some time, there is a perverse kind of a pleasure you get out of that sense of victimhood. I don't know, we are suffering so much. And then what happens is when you get into that kind of a trap, you never are able to get out of that sense of victimhood. And then you carry on. No, we are so oppressed. We have been wronged. So much of historical wrongs. We always talk, that case you can see even amongst the Métis, we are always talking about our own trauma. That is what is referred to as the fidelity to trauma. And that is a dangerous thing, that you'll never get out of that situation because you're just trapped in that by your own, maybe indirect kind of choice, that you have a situation in which you feel that your trauma is the only trauma. You don't see the other side. For instance, in this thing about the victimhood syndrome of Métis, 2,000-year-old history, you're just stuck there. You're not able to come out. You're not able to analyze what may have happened at particular phases of history, because you have to put things in context before you can come to a conclusion of what actually happened. We cannot compare, for instance, the problem that we are seeing here as also a transference of a problem that happened 2,000 years ago or 1,000 years ago. When the merger happened, for instance, this was only about 75 years ago, they may have had some other compulsions, which we cannot say is the same compulsion that we face now. But in this fidelity of trauma, you try to analyze, you try to put yourself in a situation where you think that fidelity, that trauma situation is universal. It just happened. We have just been always victims, and that kind of thing. So this is also dangerous, he says. And the other kind of flaw is of the objective observer, the people who come in and report on Manipur, for instance, they will be doing what I had just described earlier of that objective kind of reporting. And they tend to be, they tend to numb. He calls it the Dominic Lakapa calls it the numbing of empathy, that you are there, I am an objective observer. How many were killed amongst the cookies? How many were killed amongst the Metis? Cookies had more deaths, so they must be the ones who are wrong, who are the victims. That kind of situation comes up when you are totally objective. You're just analyzing, you're putting them everything on a scale that is visible, the scale that is purely objective. The subjective angle you don't consider. For instance, in my own personal experience, in the Choshanpur case, when the violence broke out there, the Assam Rifles, I was there in the Assam Rifles dinner party, and then we were talking about, and then they were giving kinds of excuse like, in Choshanpur, the first few days, the people who killed were more cookies. Assam Rifles killed, and they killed more, the cookies were the ones who were dead. So they must be the ones who are victims. So I said, well, you're not seeing something. You're just equating things in terms of that objective numbers. Supposing one party A, I won't say cookie maybe, one cookie, the party A has more deaths than party B. So they're saying party B must be the one who is the victim. So I said that doesn't have to be. If party A is attacking party B, those defending, trying to bring normalcy will shoot party A. So party A will have more deaths, but that doesn't mean they are victims. They are dead because they are the aggressor. More aggressors can die than victims. So don't just try to equate on those scales. This is basically the problem of the objective observer. No more people died there, so they must be the victims. That's not always the case. It can be the other way around. The aggressors can die because, for instance, in Jiribam, you had those 10 of those attackers killed. Now the portrayal on the other side is 10 people are killed, so we are being oppressed. The 10 people were actually aggressors. So those kind of things are missed out when you're actually doing it perfectly on a objective scale. So which is why Dominic La Capra and others say the middle voice, which is also very important. Otherwise, you will be in this kind of problem always. And the other problem that objective observers get into is what he calls the surrogate victimage. That you come there and then you, like the Assam Rifle man I spoke to, more people killed here, they must be the victims. So try to identify with the victims only and don't see the other side. And that he calls, Dominic La Capra calls the surrogate victimage. You become a surrogate. You're not an actual victim, but you become a surrogate victimage. And that is one of the biggest problems in covering any event, any trauma event. And of course, there are also other media scholars who I also think are important. Tony Harker, for instance, he's got this book called Journalism Principles and Practices, Principles and Practice. There also he's talking about this the fallacy of this objective reporting, that you see a crime and then you try to find out what happened. You go and interview, say, the victim will say something, then you write, victim said this, then you go and interview the attacker, attacker said this. You're trying to put them on a scale and equating the victim and the perpetrator. This also can be very wrong, as again, other scholars like La Capra and Saul Friedlander. There's another book by Saul Friedlander, this book that I'm referring to, Trauma, Transference, Working Through. This in the history of SOA. SOA is that Holocaust, and so that thing about equating the victim and perpetrator. In objective reporting, this very often happens. This man said this, but the other guy said this. Police said this, and you're not giving your own judgment. You have no moral judgment, but you're just reporting objectively. And there what happens is, again, as these scholars point out, especially Dominic La Capra, he gives a situation of the Himmler. Himmler is second man to Hitler, and he was in charge of the concentration camps. And he had a problem, mental problem, because of the number of people he killed, children, women. He had a problem that he can't sleep at night. He has nightmares. He's lost his appetite. So he goes to the doctor. And what happens is the victims that he tortures and kills, the Jews, they also have this sense of tomorrow they lose appetite, they have nightmares, and then they can't sleep well, and then they are always suffering from anxiety. So what the doctor will do is doctor will examine that victim as well as the perpetrator. Oh, this is that insomnia. So they'll give the same medicine. In journalism, we also tend to do the same thing. The victim and the perpetrator, this is the same problem. Like this guy said this, the other, A said this, B said this, regardless whether one is a victim or a perpetrator. So that kind of thing can happen if you are not careful. So there are so many people who are now coming out with an alternate way, that middle voice I was talking about, and especially, and they give the explanation that once upon a time, objectivity was the premium in any kind of truth representation. And this, they claim that should not be given perfect mark, and that there should be a balance of the subjective reality as well. And they explain this in the European tradition in terms of the Enlightenment age, that once upon a time, we thought science was everything. Science, objective, prove, you can prove it, you can demonstrate the same thing. If I say a glass will break if I drop on the floor, I can demonstrate and show you that glass can break. So people are attuned to that kind of mindset where you believe objectivity is everything. But what happens is that went on during the Enlightenment age and then industrial age, so much of growth, so much of material assets created and all that. But what happens is that science, that objectivity also led to trauma. For instance, Douglas Loomis, another scholar, he gives example of the 20th century. This is the height of the Enlightenment age, the benefits of the Enlightenment age, where everything was perfect. The state itself is supposed to be part of that. The state is a scientific organization of the polity, and they thought this was everything, science was everything. But the 20th century, where the Enlightenment age saw its fruition the most, you saw the most deaths. You saw 2 world wars, and according to Douglas Loomis, 100 million people were killed out of violence that resulted out of science. Now you have better weapons, you have better state organization, better army, and all that. Which is why they say this is not there has to be another side to reality, which is a moral kind of a question that you have to bring in. So in the Tony Harker gives a number of examples where they go to cover what happened, the reporters who went to cover what happened in Bosnia and the former Yugoslavia, they come back traumatized. And many of them actually said, no, I'm done with objective reporting. So people like, they give examples of, I think I have noted them down. Anyways, a lot of them come back. One BBC reporter, he is supposed to be, you're supposed to be neutral, no taking sides and all that. But he said, I will take sides. I will report what I have to report. But when it comes to that, the Slobodan Milosevic, he was the Serbian president at the time. He was tried in the International Court of Justice. He said, I will be a witness. She volunteered and went and witnessed, gave her testimony that this man in such and such village, she was actually in one village, where a number of people were massacred. So she volunteered to give her testimony. And a journalist is not supposed to do that, not supposed to take sides and all that. So no, this is too much. I have to do that. Like that, so many other people, I think, Kitang tension ki kai sa dira thai the theoretical part han le khara ka akoi gi subjective way basiga objective way basiga ada amatang hairam gi subjective objective is the an illustrative way for example hai taran sisu kana lagi I think again Sol Friedlander duka Dominic Lacapra says the muina they did an experiment history writing writer me amsiga there was a dispute memory is reliable bra can memory be evidence of history? I consider there was a dispute. So they did an experiment. I think the particular concentration camp is Srebrenica or one of those in Poland. And there was an uprising in that concentration camp during the detention during the Second World War. And all the inmates came out, they fought, but they were ultimately subdued. So there was one survivor from that. Many survivors, but they interviewed one survivor. At the time when they were interviewing her, she was about 60 years old. And they tried to see how accurate her memory is. So she asked her to describe what happened in that concentration camp. So she said, I was there in the room. Then I heard people shouting, we were screaming. We all rushed out. The people who came out, they said they were going to win. So I also rushed out and I joined the fight. And I saw 4 chimneys burning. And there the intervention came because they had a film footage of that particular uprising. And there was only 1 chimney burning. And she said 4 chimneys burning. So I know memory is not reliable. So we can't take that as evidence. Then 2 psychologists, they defended that woman. One a person called Dory Lobb and Shoshana Feldman, 2 psychologists in the Johns Hopkins University. They defended the woman. She was portraying a subjective reality. If she thought there's one tiny little chimney burning and nothing is going to happen, we won't win, then nobody would have come out, and that rebellion would not have happened. So what he was actually saying, these 2 psychologists were actually saying, is that subjective reality actually changed the objective reality. You had the subjective vision of what was going to be there. So they rushed out, they took part in that rebellion, and that rebellion became big because of that subjective reality. So there's an interrelation between the subjective and the objective. That's what she said. I'll just rush through. I'll just show you some very well-known pictures. And I think most of you have seen this. This is what Kevin Carter case, where he took a picture of this child and with a vulture behind her, trying to waiting for her to die so that she can eat. And apparently now the thing is coming out. He waited for this thing for a long time and all that. He took this picture, and he got the Pulitzer Prize, one of the highest prizes of in journalism and any kind of writing, creative writing. But journalism, there's a portion, there's a particular prize for journalism as well, both photos as well as written. So he got a prize for Pulitzer Prize. But apparently next day there was lots of calls coming in. The New York Times published this, and lots of calls coming in. This is in Sudan, during the Sudan famine, 1973 or something. So there was lots of calls coming to the New York Times. So ultimately, New York Times had to clarify next day that Kevin Carter actually helped this child, took her to the UN Food Distribution Center, chased her with a vulture, and apparently that is a lie. But they had to, because there were so many calls, so many angry voices. What happened to the child? What happened? People are not interested in the photo, but people are interested in the fate of the child. What happened to this child? And they had to clarify. New York Times had to clarify. But the adding to that controversy or that enigma is that Kevin Carter committed suicide. Now, 3 months of winning that Pulitzer Prize. I mean, you're supposed to be celebrating, you won a big prize and all that. But 3 months later, he committed suicide. Maybe it's for other reasons, but people attributed to this, that you didn't do something you're supposed to do. And that guilt actually took over. So the balance between the subjective and the objective cannot be done away with. And here's another example of, this is in Vietnam, Saigon. Saigon, it used to be called. It is called. Now, this man, there was a bomb blast in that city, and many soldiers were killed. And one of the guys suspects was caught. And this man, General Nguyen, as he's called, from the South Vietnamese army, he came in front of everybody, just shot him dead. And Eddie Adams, another photographer from the AP, was around. He took a picture of this, and again he got a Pulitzer Prize. And this General Nguyen, he could not live, after Vietnam was liberated, he could not live in Vietnam. So he had to be transported to the US, where he did a restaurant and tried to live a normal life. But he couldn't. People recognized him, write graffiti on his wall, you're a killer, you're a murderer. So he had a very terrible time. So Eddie Adams went to interview him later, and he said, what about this? And this man never blamed Eddie Adams. You did what you had to do. And this was a thing which would have happened in any case. So I blame nobody kind of thing. So Eddie Adams actually regretted. I'm just giving the other side of the story. That he said, I wish I didn't get the Pulitzer Prize for this. He said, this was war. In the midst of the war, things that we interpret as wrong are not always what we see them to be. So he said, I would have taken a picture, but I wish I didn't get a Pulitzer Prize for this. I wish I had got it. He did another series of photos there was another crisis after Vietnam was liberated. A lot of people in small boats, and they landed near Thailand, and Thailand didn't allow them to disembark. So they were in the sea for a long time. So they came to be known as the boat people, and he took a lot of pictures of them. He said, I wish I had got my prize for the boat people thing. I'll just rush through, and there was some few photographs I will show you. This is, again, a very familiar photograph. This is in My Lai. No, not My Lai. My Lai was another massacre. This is, what happened was the US, what behind is, you can see fire, that's a napalm bomb. Napalm bomb is actually fire bomb. You just drop the bomb, and then a bomb explodes, and then all around, they start burning. So inside, people trapped inside will either get burned or will die of suffocation. Because the fire will burn out all the oxygen. Now this weapon is banned, but they were using it in Vietnam. So they dropped one of these, and then this little girl, she came to be known as the Napalm girl. She's still alive. She got burned, so she ran. And the man who took the photo is this guy, again from the AP, Nick Wood. He took the photo, but the controversy over this was the picture was cropped. The original picture is something like this. You see, this is the original picture. There's another man running with the camera. So that actually watered down the urgency of the picture. Somebody trying to fill the camera and running along. So they cropped the picture, and when they published it, they published it like this. They published it like this without the thing. So this was thought of as very unethical. You can't crop. You are just changing the reality by cropping the picture. The picture, here is like this. The picture was like this, but they cropped and showed only this part of the thing, which was published. So there was a huge debate over this. So I'm just showing you what the problems of journalism can be. The things that you leave out can actually alter the reality of what you're portraying, and that also is a huge problem. You can't write everything, but what you leave out is important. What you should not leave out, rather, is also important. This is what they're saying. I just want to end with another picture and also an explanation of this from Judith Butler's book, Precarious Life, The Power of Mourning and Violence. I will just rush through this. And here we talk about the enemy and the other and me. I am who I am because I'm not you, I'm not you, I'm not you. And this is very well portrayed in the case of fiction, but based on a real life untold. Robinson Crusoe. He was there in an island alone, marooned. He didn't have any contacts. 20 years, I think he was there. And after some time, he didn't even need his identity. He didn't need his name. No use for that. But one day, while he was walking on the beach, he saw some footprints. Suddenly he became conscious of himself. The other is necessary for you to be conscious of yourself. So he went near the footprints, put his foot, it's not mine, there's somebody else. I am Robinson, that Robinson Crusoe identity suddenly came alive, there's somebody else. And then he ultimately finds that man, it's called Man Friday. Fortunately for him, he was not hostile, they became friends and all that. But the fact is, the other is necessary for your identity to become alive. So that you can either interpret it as, I am different from you. But Judith Butler says in her book that maybe there's another way of saying it, that my identity is dependent on you. If you're not there, I will be something else. And here, this picture, I had gone to The Hague, and this was displayed there, and it immediately attracted me. So I took a picture, and I thought this was very, very related to what Judith Butler had said. This is by somebody called Escher, and there's an Escher museum in the Hague as well. So this picture, it's called the Day and Night. You can see these white birds coming. But if you go that side, white birds disappear and they become blackbird. And what happens is, supposing you want to remove the blackbird, we don't want the blackbird. remove the black thing and everything becomes white. The white birds will also disappear. Or you want to say we'll have only one set of birds. You take out the white birds and then all the white portion, everything becomes black and you lose your identity. Just as Robinson Crusoe, that your identity is dependent on you. So Judith Butler is actually saying, instead of saying I'm not you, he said, what would I be without you? What would India be without Pakistan? So that the other is very, very, very important in the coming of my identity. So I just recently had a very nice interaction in Nagaland where we were discussing this, and we were also trying to reinterpret this idea of the religious idea of love your neighbor. So we said love your enemy because your enemy is most probably your neighbor, and you don't go and hate somebody who's in Kazakhstan or Russia. You hate or fight with somebody who's your immediate neighbor. And so this reconciliation has to begin with the idea of actually what Judith Butler had said about representation, that my identity is dependent on you. Instead of saying, I'm not you, there's a part of you in me. The person that I love would have been different if you were not there. I just end here because maybe later on we can have a longer kind of discussion on this. But now I think I have another thing to attend. So I will end here. Thank you very much.
Anyone would like to have any questions for Sir? Please do so.
Just one question.
I have once, but we'll have it later.
Yeah, we'll have it later. We'll have another.
Thank you, Sir. For our second speech, Sir Satyajit will be speaking on truth and ethics, the foundation of media. Sir, you may please begin your speech.
I'm extremely sorry it's a rain. Sure, doctor. Yeah. Hello. Before I start my topic, that is truth and ethics, the foundation of media, I would just like to add what Tamo said. Tamo showed a photograph about Sudan, where the Kevin Carter, he won the Pulitzer Award. It is a very prestigious award. But I think what the point which was missed is he was a young person of just 33 years old. He was just 33 years. And he became so traumatized that he committed suicide later. And there was another photograph about Vietnam, about Net Un. The problem was that it changed the entire scenario in the United States, because what people felt, people started questioning is this the thing which our army are doing in Vietnam? And it changed the course of life in United States, and some people argue that people decided to stop the Vietnam War. That is this are the impacts of photographs of journalists. And with this, I will come to my topic, that is truth and ethics, the foundation of media. And before that also, I would like to add another incident which took place before coming to my topic, which happened in Manipur. This is my personal experience. What happened was, there was a military operation. There was a bomb blast at Taubal district. Then what happened? Then the military ordered that the entire village should be picketed. Then at that time I was quite young. I was around 25, 26. And then I visited that place. The name of the place is Langatel. And you will be surprised that the entire village was picketed. There was not even a single soul in that village. Just imagine covering that incident. It was quite traumatic. And we covered lots of incidents. And what message Tamo's narrative gave us that you should not get involved in the news because you'll be depressed. This is exactly what happens with medical students. When medical students, when they go for medicine after the first year, the problem is in the first year they will say that if you have cancer, you will have headache. So most of the students, they think that they have cancer. So what I would suggest to my friends is that you should not get involved in such matter. Otherwise, you will be depressed. You will not be able to write. So, and the other issue is what Tamo's message is that whatever, if you are working for an organization, what exactly matters is yourself. You are personally responsible. That is why Kevin Carter committed suicide 4 months or 3 months after his photograph was published and he won the Pulitzer Award. I do like Twitter Ethics, the foundation of media. I think that the picture keep name come out. I had copy do, I had lobby. Ha. Oh yeah. I don't power. I have method. No, I don't talk about. A quickie print media. A quickie live. Say, how to suppose I have the oral sum. Suppose a rig bed the hyrone. Rig bed is 1,500 years. Ada ko na tum pau de masi se chin na sungang mo ni ba na teba I ba si de ko Brahmi se Aramek te hoba Aramek se nong Babylonia degi hor pa se ko ni I ba ho ba se ko na basically businessman map ne I ba sum hor pa se I ba se hor pa ne aduna ko na je khang se orally amma de harak pa ni han ha je ke adu mathang da ko lai se 15th century yo de pau da di Larix Padina Iraga, couldn't Iraga sum labini, even Aquina Hariba, Alexander the Great, and Powigo. Arimagi, Plato, and like Tambirini, Aristotle, Rimuentam, people consider my matam the Iliad Neighbor, Homer, Aquagi, a Troigi, Helen of Troigi, like Homer say, Manamatam couldn't even do Magi Mon, Makara Tamaga, Aduna Yam Tamba, Yam precious item winner. Aduna Prichibida quite a yam evil like a Bible. A century matang dedi Quran lai aduga adu mamang dedi le aduga sisa akhoi Manipur gi amtang ai haja hogeba Manipur gi se akhoi gi ibagi culture se yam very advanced ne ba masi akhoi ne puya ne lei matam se masi kai gna matam da akhoi na hojik iriba lari matam da akhoi ne ibasi akhoi hojik lei ba ai che se cham ge hojik mang gi ne ba adu akhoi gi puya ira matam da di cham su mang de ba aduga color su irame organic oni iramanina aduna hojik about 2000 to 3000 ancient text puya se leyeba adu akoina chamasu kainum tawsu karim tawde aduga akoi puya singse akoi gi samna harabda chahi tar khunda ko da Burmese me amna loi puru yeba ai amna thugai rameba adubu hojik tamadu gi akoina amuk purako matam da akoi chamale tam aduna akoi gi anoba singa thaini gi technology siga thaini gi se akoi Manipur da su advance oi habju thamjaram ge ba ko adigi akhoi ayamana kanogi students ngaktanina adugi yam detail changjar Johannes Gutenberg ki 1450 watt printing press puthorpa sigi development sum lap kanses da akhoi gi India da di nahan January 29 se akhoi gi kanogi ahan ba newspaper form bagi ayamana masi ja Bengal lagi horokba aduga India da di akhoi gi ahan ba hauba se freedom struggle gi hauba marina Mahatma Gandhi on Harijan mani iba adagi sumana mayap ayam ba haurei aduga ayam na British writer ngakani aduga hoji hana lermi ba somno chena khambira mani hana lermi ba PRB Act akhoi gi newspaper regulate to base British matam da lermi do handak just 2024 da government of India na semjo eba aduna akhoi na hoji chana riba print ki leriba law map te thaini gi British matam da lermi duni just 2024 da PRB Act se on thoga handak tang nauna chali anu bakro lai haibase thamjage ba sigi marakse lai sina digital media gi ahungba ma digital media gi hongba se ta hana akhoi ngasai khanar mi se akhoi ngasai gi kainona Kevin Carter na copy ba matam adai matam se digital era khaka lai asi lakko matam se akhoi ngasai gi langa thel gi ngasai chatpa photo kap matam da akhoi camera se leitri digital camera se leitri ba digital camera leitri ngai de akhoi je kadoi nawasori akhoi thain thabak to me akhoi khangbirangoni photo kap se chamaga akhoi gi Lept Tazalaga, Lept Tazalaga, Amuk covered a phone, long process. Hojiki, a quick pen type, I'm the Torga, a quick blue to the cup, we are tiny, long process. I'm one at the Hibisma Tamtek. I go printing pressed up. My Amazu, I am Midiagi students, Mam, a computer, a quick Hojiki, letter press, the letter make a mumta. A B C aina pa sarga chappaga aduga masi je cancer jam nawa madudagi hojikti digital kanodagi tholakpadagi khar development leire haibasima thamjageba aduga digital media gi tholpa concept da masagi rise of misinformation and fake news akoigi handaki manipur gi rang chirei dia khoi chelo digital kano se loi haireba khoi ayamba mayam se adubu masigi se kyam thina maru ai khai matamda irang se thong matamda akoigi khatnaba se da world change togam international body change togam ba kangu se akoigi handaki irang to bakan se da kangu kran se ne masi internet ban to matam se da moi se maming se moi adum yam lona se na ba akoigi system de hajar ba ko sineba suppose akoigi kanona government of india na israel digi leraga akoigi kanoda sinaba smaina akoigi kano singsina maitiga cookie khanabda cookie singsida sine masi yam thina tange masi system je aduga another system ama moina sinabda akoini sinabda suppose akoigi whole wikipedia gi structure je wikipedia se da ina change tawba se page am change la ma khai lawe kainoda author मैम अगर चेंज तब यादे कहीं अखोगी मागी डाटाबेस मैम लोई छागलक्तोइना मसिगे लई मतबदा मोइन ऑथर मैम मरुइना इंग्लैंड के ऑथर के मैम तौद मसे पैसा याम चंगा अदुगा अखोइना सपोज अखोगी क्राइसिस मैनेजमेंट दा गसागी डिजिटल दा मसिगी मरु वेबसे थबे थमजैना कइगिनो कांदा अखोइना वेबसाइट हम चंग मतमदा याम सर्च तौरगा मदु थोलपदिनो अखोइ तौदोइसे मसि थिंगबसे मसिगी सॉफ्टवेयर से सिनबदा about 1.5 crore to 2 crores mu अखोगी मदुगी सॉफ्टवेयर माने तौदोइसिना suppose somna je kaino hairasine nawaz.com nataga memes ki .com hai mu ki changene message da hojiki software je sinarga adum unga lei doine aduna somna thiba matam da phangaroeba aduna ma se magi traffic je lei rane ba sigi software sinaba se masigi mayam se handak ta khangai ba koina masi aduna ni akoina handak ki kaino se da technology gi adugi development se yam maru oi haina masigi adugi adaga anadang adagi masigi lakan se da sigi sum lakan se da ko traditional media पोच अनि थोलेबा अमना सपोज अखोगी रेगुलेटेड मीडिया अमा रेगुलेटेड मीडिया दे सपोज अखोइना प्रिंट मीडिया ओगना कनो दगी आरएनआई दगी रजिस्ट्रेशन लरोगा तौबा अमा अदुगा डिजिटल कनो गी इंटायर वर्ल्ड दसु अदुगा इंडिया दसु लो से फजन लेते डिजिटल इरागदी त्रिपुरा गी लेखरे राजस्थान गी लेरे मतंग मतंग हजिक गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया नसु डिजिटल कनो तो अदुगु कंप्लीट ओबल लो रजिस्ट्रेशन कमाइन तौनी सपोज मणिपुर आइनो वेबसाइट अमा हांगे तो कतमदा कदाई तौदोइनो से खांगु कांगु कनोदगी अमदे चलु हाइनी अमना चलु हाइना प्रिंट की फजन लेरे अदुबो डिजिटल की लेतबसेना मसिगी कन्फ्यूजन द मसिना करी थोलके हाइ मतमदा अनरेगुलेटेड कनाना तौरिनो तो खंगदबिना करमना फेक नो करमना अरान मनोइसे खंब याम लुये अदुना सोमगी अखोगी डायरेक्ट ओना लाइक तमगा वाना तमगा थोलैबा कांगु म्याम सिदती आइन हाइजदोइसे ट्रेडिशनल मीडिया से मसिगा अनरेगुलेटेड मीडिया सिगा करी खेनगे हाइबसे मसिगी डिफरेंस है उत्तोइने सोमना मसी उत्पसिज यान हमबदा मसी यान हमबदा अखोय हाइबदा वेपन मसी आइन हाइबदा वेपन हाइबा तमदा अखोय सपोज आइना ई तारदी इंग्लिश नत्रगा मणिपुरी नत्रगा उर्दू हिंदी ओइतारदी मदुगे लैंग्वेज दम मदु कंप्लीट कमांड अमा हाना लेगदमनेबा कंप्लीट कमांड लेबसे सपोज रिटर्न गिदी अखोयगी सोमना तमरसी योबिरमने सपोज हजिक इंडिया दा वर्ल्ड यामना फावरिबा सपोज रॉयटर्स हाइरको अदि एपी हाइरसी अदि एपी हाइरसी मुगी राइटिंग स्टाइल एना मुगी लाइरिक अमम लेबनेबा मदु सोम डाउनलोड तौसु याबनि लेबसु याबनि अदुगा अदुम तंबे याम लाएबा अदुबु अदुगा मसिगी खेनबदा लम की लॉ से लम की लॉ सिजु खंबा दरकार ओइ हाबसे सपोज कइनो हाकांदा सपोज जर्नलिस्ट अमु ओरक्तारदी सोमना तौकसे कवर तौदसु याम यामेबा सपोज असेंबली कवर तौरसिने असेंबली कवर तो काज असेंबली की रूल्स एंड प्रोसीजर्स मा कंडक्ट ऑन बिजनेस मसी सोमना पादोइने सोमना खंगदोइने स्पेशलाइजेशन लाएबा सिगी स्पेशलाइजेशन से सपोज लपका एग्जांपल अमा मसी से अखोगी मसी सोइबदा जर्नलिस्ट का जेल चंगेबा जेल चंगे चेक करिगिनो हाइबा तमदा सपोज मी एमएलए अनि जे खनरको मतमदा एमएलए अमना हाइबसे कोना कनोना लौथोखिबा याय स्पीकर सिना मसिगी मान हाइबा वासे आई लौथोए मसे बिजनेस ट्रांजैक्शन दा याउद्रि हाइतादि सोमना पाउसी इबिबा मतमदा रिफ्लेक्ट तोबा यादेबा अदु कॉन्टेम्प्ट चानी ब्रीच ऑफ प्रिविलेज चानी अदुना अदुगी लो मैम अइना तौरिबा बहम अइना चंगिबा बहम सिंगी लो मैम फजना चंगबसु दरकार ओइ हाइबसी अमा थमजगेबा अदुगा मेसेज दा खोइना याम तोइना जर्नलिस्ट यामना सोइबसे मरोइना लो खंगदबदा जुवेनाइल जस्टिस एक्ट हाइरोने सपोज सही 53 की अंगांगी नतगना रेप विक्टिम हाइरो अखोइ सिदा मम्मी सिदा हाइदोएबा हाइदोपसि यादेबा अदगी अखोइना मणिपुर अखोइगी चन्नबी ओने सपोज आइना मयामदा सो कयुम तौनिंगे आइना ऑर्फनेज एंड चलगा ऑर्फन मयाम की फोटोज आइना फेसबुक दा थागले adui tadi juvenile justice ki matugina ma si jail changdoini yadi aduna akhoi aina operate torba lamdugi legal ethics madugi mayam su khangba darkar oi juvenile justice ek oigera adagi assembly covers tawgana rules of procedure adum larik adum lei adum khangba ama anywhere adagi crime gi tawgana crime gi phajana khangba crime gi hana IPC chi July phogi mabang da chapa khaisina IPC Indian Penal Code che khang doi ni adu July 2004 dagi wan dagi chapa sina hauji another law ahum pass tori pse masi phajana khang doi ni aduna legal aspect me phajana khang ga sound foundation da kanda thabak tok ta di madu ki khena badu uni maduna traditional media ga unregulated media ga ani du ki difference prajana yeng bada su khang doi ni haipasima ama mu thamjage aduga unregulated media gi ding sai suppose akoi ne click ana akoi suppose hit and suppose YouTube ta akoi somna video am thagala kanda mi am ne yeng kanda kana bje phangi paisa phange madubu masija khena babna regulated media gi di my the process ama ai mana tawise mi si ethical oibra in tawise ai ni ibje lo lam ji lo thugai bra madugi mayam tawbra adagi example akoi ji tamo keno se tamo chakhi beso magi paper sida thaina magi makha da lei mayam se yam saw se akoi gi thaina Manipur se da yam to ko mi lei ki dawai photo newspaper da hap se adi somna par yeng bio ba tume hawlak pada mi lei tabai photo do pa doini madu yam nungai tir mingon da sui dena ko adagi akoi gi chak charam be timing se da impact bit ke case le ko adagi keno se le ISTB ke yeng matam da mi lei tabak khot pe to ka do dungdang gi chak char ge yeng matam da mingon nungai taw da madugi mayam do regulated media da di somna tammaga lakpani na madugi lo mayam yawbani na madugi mayam dugi difference prajana khang kan prajana difference tor habit thamjage ba aduga akhoi media ethics di akhoi YouTube ta su channel mayam yawi mari honesty leiba adu mayam simrak se da koida thamjani bamna media da hek chang mase maruina print media gi decline se India da hojik decline la eba adi suppose akhoi national papers mayam phongi ba suppose Telegraph hairo Times of India hairo ka hoti da pom me phongdre masing sum handare adagi government of India se hana planning atopa suppose United States khangdi atai dadi four pillar of democracy ha kanda akhoi somna sena khambirangani press freedom je yam clear cut mogi amendment de yawre ko press amendment akhoi di article 19 da akhoi kado da right to freedom free speech ki makha da Supreme Court na haraga maside sida kano gi media sum masi holding da debate da constitution iba matam da mayam mai to kan Ambedkar na press su dum yawjerani haraga dum yawkidabani adun Supreme Court na masidagi dum yare hana chapagi masigi chanabi sum lakan se da akhoi gi India da hongba print ki lapkan se government of India se last 10 magi funding pattern suppose lam khra da di suppose BBC harasine BBC se adigi atopata magi funding pattern je hongde government je phana chei su bai funding pattern je tokte ba whereas India da di last 10 to 11 12 years da funding pattern je hongre hana DABP harami hoji CBC harami aduna planning commission na piriba paisa se gi 1 to 4% paisa se print media da thadaraga print media me survive to holamane han India to ise madugi funding pattern je tokre hoji CBC na control to matam da loi punjan gre aduna print media se decline ama India da lai aduna masi decline si lakta kada da kai to ga ka government ko nakna ba government ko nuksina ba kangu du da dang advertisement piraga advertisement yaw da di hingda ya dabni na madum da lakpagi madugi decline ama lai India da aduna akhoi gi hojib dik lai ba journalist bayam sira su magi masi da kada da solake ka da magi core issue journalist amna thabak to dise mo da honesty haibam di mana atai siga mana de atai students me afrika mana de ba journalist ki mo honesty haibam di yaw dab ne ba I suppose honesty se kyam lege haibam tam da ai gi ipado paisa chai hena press conference am tawre ba ada ai gi ipado paisa chai ni ibang ngamba mido madugi honesty leba mido na madugi field da changa da bani haibase maduni ba leise aru masi am toi thoe di ka hojikan di idana ba khotana ba adagi even newspaper sing da ngasi se aigi against the laktor hai tari madugi page to plop lei hiba advertisement hapchang hiba adu masigi sima lei haiba sima thamjage ko legal and regulatory framework of media sise ngasai article 19(1)(a) gi ngasai aduma hape thamjakre adagi akhoi gi India gi constitution sina hadigi maruina handaki BNS anuba law je ꯃꯁꯤꯗ ꯍꯥꯟꯅ ꯂꯩꯔꯝꯕꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯁꯣꯝꯅ ꯀꯔꯤꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯂꯥꯟ ꯑꯃ ꯏꯔꯕ ꯏꯕꯁꯤꯗ ꯏꯟꯗꯤꯌꯥꯒꯤꯁꯤ ꯁꯣꯝꯗ ꯐ꯭रीडꯝ ꯄꯤꯔꯁꯨ ꯀꯗꯥꯏꯗꯅꯣꯝꯗꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯀꯛꯑꯦꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯏꯟꯗꯤꯌꯥꯒꯤ ꯁꯣꯚꯔꯦꯟꯇꯤ ꯑꯗꯒꯤ ꯇꯦꯔꯤꯇꯣꯔꯤꯁꯦ ꯃꯥꯡ ꯇꯥꯔꯗꯤ ꯏꯕꯗ ꯁꯣꯝꯗ ꯍꯥꯟꯅ ꯁꯤꯗꯤꯁꯟ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯝꯕꯅꯤ ꯍꯟꯗꯛꯇꯤ ꯇ꯭ꯔꯤꯖꯟ ꯂꯥꯛꯑꯦꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯇ꯭ꯔꯤꯖꯟꯒ ꯁꯤꯗꯤꯁꯟꯒꯗꯤ ꯁꯤꯗꯤꯁꯟꯁꯦ ꯁꯨꯄ꯭रीम ꯀꯣꯔꯠꯇ ꯀꯦꯁ ꯐꯅꯌꯥꯝ ꯇꯧꯏ ꯑꯗꯨꯏꯁꯨ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯐꯔꯛ ꯇꯥꯏ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯇꯧꯗꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯕꯨ ꯍꯟꯗꯛꯀꯤ ꯂꯣꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯃꯇꯨꯡ ꯏꯟꯅꯗꯤ ꯁꯣꯝꯅ ꯏꯕꯁꯦ ꯀꯔꯤꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯁꯣꯏꯔꯕ ꯃꯤꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯗꯤꯐꯦꯃꯦꯇꯤవ్ ꯑꯣꯏꯇꯥꯔꯗꯤ ꯍꯥꯟꯅ ꯇ꯭ꯔꯤꯖꯟ ꯑꯣꯏꯔꯝꯕꯗꯣ ꯑꯅꯧꯕ BNSꯒꯤ ꯃꯇꯥꯡꯗ ꯇ꯭ꯔꯤꯖꯟ ꯂꯥꯛꯏ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯏꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯗꯁꯨ ꯌꯥꯔꯤꯈꯩ ꯀꯤꯍꯟꯕꯗꯤ ꯅꯠꯇꯦꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯌꯥꯔꯤꯈꯩ ꯋꯦꯇꯦꯖ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯆꯦꯛꯁꯤꯟꯕꯅ ꯈ꯭ꯋꯥꯏ ꯐꯩ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯁꯤꯃ ꯑꯩ ꯊꯝꯖꯒꯦꯕꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯒꯤ ꯔꯣꯜ ꯑꯣꯐ ꯃꯤडिया इन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट एंड इथनिक क्लासेस हंदकी मणिपुर की क्राइसिस से लेकान अखोई इबसे ngसागी फंडिंग पैटर्न से वाला कांदे सपोज सोम से रिपोर्टिंग से अदुबु मीडिया ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से पैसा लेकदी कनागुमने स्पॉन्सर तौर लाक्तोने अदुना मणिपुर की क्राइसिस मणिपुर की इरिबसे कनागुमने स्पॉन्सर तौरपनिना स्पॉन्सर तौरब कांगुदुगी फेवर द लोइन इहिबगी तंजा अमा लाएब अदुनाने हंदक अखोगी मणिपुर की रिपोर्टर्स दा मणिपुर की क्राइसिस तौ मतमदा कांगुमना मणिपुर इरांग से इरबदा सपोज जिरी इंसिडेंट हारसिने मार नुपी म सिरे अदगी मी तरुग म सिरे अरुगा पाउ इबसे दाइना जिरी की मार नुपी सिबदुरंग इबा अरुगा सोमने मैते की तरुग तु इरब अरु तादि मसिगिसे हंदकी मणिपुर की इरांग न्यूज़पेपर तरामुकी तौरगा एनालिसिस तौ मतमदा मसिगी प्रॉब्लम से लोइ थोएबा सिना तापदी अखोगी हजिजिक लेरिबा मीडिया स्टैंडर्ड कनो मैम से खितंग हंदरे अरुगा मीडिया एथिक्स फॉलो तौदी हाइबसिबा इ थमजगेको अदिगी अपॉर्चुनिटीज हानदी प्रिंटंग लेरमिको हानदी हजिक्ति वेबसाइट ब्लॉग अदगी मफम मफमदा अखोगी मीडिया एक्सपर्ट मैम अदगी ngसा हाइकिबा एक्सपर्टीज ngसागी नेशन अमा चेंज तौबा ngamba ग्रुप फॉर्म तौरिसे मसि जर्नलिस्ट ngakतने अदुना सोमगी लेवल सिना वांगिखै अचौक चौबा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन दा अचौक चौबा ग्रुप दा चंगबा यादोइनी अदुना एक्सपर्टीज मैम कदु मैम हेलिके फनी हाइबा थमजगे कंक्लूजन दा अखोगी इहान हम दा अखोगी ट्रुथ ngसाइ अखोगी मीडिया एथिक्स सोमना तमबने हना लो यावमने इ हाइदसु यारे मीडिया एथिक्स की ऑनेस्टी ट्रुथ अदगी कदोदा बोथ साइड ऑफ द स्टोरीज खंगबा मदुगी मैम दा फाउंडेशन चुमना चपिरदी सोंगी फ्यूचर सु सेफ होई अदुबु ngसाइगी तबोना ngसा उतकिबा फोटो मैम दो यंकांदा अइना तौरिबा तौतारसु ऑर्गेनाइजेशन फन होइतारसु अइ मक्से रेस्पोंसिबल होई लास्ट मीदु रेस्पोंसिबल होई अदुना अइ तौबसे रेस्पोंसिबल सिटीजन अमा होइना चुमना सोसाइटी से अदुगा मसेजदा अमा ngसागी वियतनाम की फोटो दा निक की फोटो दा वर्ल्ड वियतनाम लान तोकी दुबाइना सोमगी कंट्रीब्यूशन चिना नेशन की कंट्रीब्यूशन नेशन जे चखन होनबदा अफबा थबक तौरिनी अदुना अइगी से डेडिकेटेड लाइफ अमनी हाइरोमदा जंक्शन लोकान सक्सेस लाकनी आइना अदाइन थैंक यू
For now, we shall begin the paper presentation session. I request the volunteers to clear away the table and the desk.
좀 파면 봐. 야, 좀 파면 돼. 콩 레이트 우제 노예. 방 예, 송이디 까이 봐.
Missing hang lấy bây giờ rồi đó.
까 cây liền cái gì?
Cái nó kiki là request sắp đầu thì mà lấy cái này sẽ valedictory do tầm nhau
Let us begin the paper presentation. The chairperson of this session is Dr. Nawaz Khan Thauba, Associate Professor in Mass Communication Department of Rajiv Gandhi University. I would like to request sir to come and take the chairperson seat. Oh. Thank you, sir, for joining us in this session. Next, I would like to inform our participants that due to time constraints, you would be allotted only 5 minutes, wherein you would be presenting directly to your research objectives as well as come directly to your findings. I repeat, just 5 minutes for each and every participant. So please adhere to it strictly. Now I hand over the mic to Chairperson Sir to begin the session.
This cold morning again. As I said today, as we discussed yesterday in the last session, we have today 8 presenters. And we expect good papers. Still, presentation of papers means it is open to the forum, so that may get enriched to become a better paper. So I wish all the best to all of you, and I think the forum will listen to you and will give input, and wherever you can make commission and commissioners to get your paper, your concept, your perspective more clearer, more enriched, so that it may become a better piece for publication. So now I request the first presenter.
Should I announce the name?
Please you do that.
The first presenter is Kambir Ngoru. Please come and take a seat here. The second presenter is Yumnam Arles. Please come take a seat. Third, we have Sonia Maitram. Please come take a seat. Fourth, we have Robinson Wahingbam. Please come take a seat. Fifth, Hema Windy Chanu. Next, we have Rama Devi. Next, Haubijam Chinglemba. And last but not the least, Tera Barekhan Bashin. Sir, you may.
First one,
yeah.
you can go.
Okay. The first presenter, as I said before, is Kambir Ngoru. Please begin your presentation.
I hope this 5 minutes will make your life rather precious. Like Obama only speaks for minutes.
Yeah.
All the best.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Kambir Mayon from the Department of English and Cultural Studies, and my presentation is titled Navigating the Crisis of Misinformation and Fake News in the Age of AI, Exploring Challenges and Solutions. In recent years, misinformation, fake news have become global concern, impacting politics, public trust, and decision-making. This research examines how AI contributes to misinformation and how it can be leveraged to fight it. Understanding this role is crucial in developing strategies that develop digital literacy and policy frameworks. Uh,
You want to go next? Wait.
My research questions guiding this study is how does AI contribute to the spread of misinformation, and in what ways it can be helped to mitigate this misinformation. My primary aims and objectives are to explore AI's role in both generating and combating misinformation, and to assess the implications of misinformation. I would like to discuss what is artificial intelligence. AI refers to machines that simulate human intelligence. It includes technologies such as machine learning, deep learning, and natural language processing. It can generate, analyze, and moderate digital content. AI has significantly contributed to the spread of misinformation through AI-generated fake news, deepfake technology, and algorithmic amplification, such as social media algorithms that prioritize sensational misinformation for engagement. And there's difficulties in detection AI-generated content. While AI contributes to misinformation, it also provides solutions such as AI-powered fact-checking, deepfake detection technology, credibility scoring, and AI educational tools. Recognizing that AI is both a tool and a threat to information integrity, and encouraging collaboration between governments, technology firms, and researchers, and also promoting digital literacy can help individuals critically analyze online content. There is the need for digital literacy policy frameworks and public awareness campaigns. By taking these proactive steps, one can leverage AI's capabilities while safeguarding the integrity of digital content. Thank you.
Very short, brief presentation from Kabir. Now, she is open to your question, if any. Yes, please. Clear the question?
Yes, there are examples about deepfake technology where Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg was a victim in 2019, which showed him posting about how he owns its users. And also during the Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2022, a video of Ukrainian President Zelensky was portrayed telling his troops to surrender to Russia.
Your question is answered. Okay, any more questions? Then let me give some input here. One, you have presented a well-written paper. I have not gone through that, but again, it's still out of your presentation, I can make it out. But here, I don't know, I'm not aware whether you included the part which I'm going to talk now. So try to, if possible, you write it down. Just to make it more interesting. AI, the wake of AI syndrome. This is one aspect. And before AI, were not there misinformation and fake news? So there could be some kind of comparative study over the journey of reporting. You understand me? So since the wake of AI, since the emergence of AI, there will be challenges, different kind of challenges regarding misinformation and fake news. augmented one. But before that also, was there any kind of misinformation and fake news spreading? If it is there, then is there any comparative study, at least for in one passage, one paragraph? Okay. Yes.
It's a special announcement. Whose crater and
One crater
one
and
crater
duster
and one duster is blocking the
road.
path.
Duster mga crater under the high end of the
Since your paper is exploring the challenges and solutions, was there misinformation and fake news before the age of AI, and when did AI is beginning? Something like it. We talk about it. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Next.
I'll not be using the.
You won't be using the picture, okay, but still, okay. Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone present here. My name is Zumna Marnes Meitei, and I'll be presenting my paper titled "The Digital Divide: Repercussions of Internet Shutdown on Research Scholars in Manipur University," which is co-authored with my fellow research scholar, Lernie Shelton. So we all know that in our state, Manipur, internet shutdowns owing to political and communal unrest had become a recurring phenomenon. So obviously, this has visibly disrupted the academic pursuits of research scholars in Manipur University. So when we say digital divide, it refers to the unequal access to digital technologies, including the internet. Internet shutdowns when widen this divide, creating a knowledge gap between those with uninterrupted internet access and those without. This gap can have long-term consequences, perpetuating existing inequalities and hindering social mobility. So the results objectives of my paper is to define the experience of research scholars at Manipur University during internet shutdowns, as well as to look for effective countermeasures that can be employed in the event of future internet bans in the state. And here I am using a qualitative approach using in-depth interviews to gather data from research scholars at Manipur University. And I have some literature reviews like Sogoto and the Zokro Diponto in 2018 explore the impact of internet users on students' academic performance and social life by focusing on universities in Bandung, Indonesia. Here, the study emphasizes the necessity of balanced internet usage to maximize academic benefits while mitigating negative social consequences. And in 2022, Shurtanja and others in their paper critically examined the socio-economic and political ramifications of internet shutdowns. Their study highlights the adverse effect of shutdowns on access to information, economic activities, and human rights. And in 2023, Shankar in their paper delves into legal, political, and socio-economic consequences of internet shutdowns in Manipur. Even though Prime Minister Modi government have taken up initiatives like Digital India and its frequent enforcement of internet shutdowns have gone against it, like even India is labeled as internet shutdown capital. So coming to the findings of my study, it has been found that the participants, particularly the research scholars of our university, have found like the internet shutdowns have impacted in like disruption in the progress of research, difficulty in accessing online resources, including academic databases and the journals, disruption in collaboration with colleagues and the peers, inability to disseminate research findings through online platforms, difficulty in meeting deadlines and submitting research papers. So what they have given me is that when they try to cope through the internet shutdowns, what they find is they are using alternative networks such as mobile data or VPN, which may or may not be secure, relying on offline resources such as physical libraries, books, and the journals. But obviously, we all know that the offline resources that are available in the library is not that adequate for us also. And collaborating with colleagues through alternative means such as phone calls or text messages, which may not be that adequate and that communicable, adjusting research deadlines and the deadlines, providing free and easy access to the internet inside the university campus for the students. So based on the findings, this paper recommends policymakers like the government to reconsider the imposition of internet shutdowns as a means of maintaining law and order. Alternative measures such as targeted restrictions on specific websites or social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, maybe, which are used to circulate maybe fake news or violent videos. It should be explored, and research institutions and universities should develop contingency plans to mitigate the effects of internet shutdowns on research productivity. So the limitations of my studies are like the study may not be a representative of all the research scholars in Manipur University, as the sample size may be limited, and further research can be done with larger sample size to obtain more varied response to the questions. Like we have taken only 2 or 3 departments research scholars, so it can be expanded, and the study may not capture the long-term effects of internet shutdowns on research scholars since it was conducted over a short period of time. And future studies can explore the impact of internet shutdowns on other stakeholders like students, maybe in lower classes, businesses, and civil society organizations. Additionally, research can focus on developing alternative measures to maintain law and order while minimizing the disruption to internet service. That's all from me, sir. Thank you everyone for your time.
Till now,
Yes, sir.
I have presented very pertinent paper in the light of the frequent internet shutdown, which we have been witnessing for the last couple of years, and anyway, Ernest is open to your questions. Anybody? If anybody has questions, please. Yes. Do you think there is a digital literacy among the scholars of social information that are using LinkedIn and other services?
Yes, sir, regarding to your question, yes, digital literacy is a must for everyone, even from the younger generation to the older people, because nowadays, even scams have been happening in the internet regarding stealing of maybe in our academic, atmosphere, stealing of papers, or like maybe if your laptop is compromised, then all your hard work may be stolen by some hackers, or maybe that's why in this age of digitalization, digital literacy is a must, and I think many awareness programs needs to be conducted so that students and both the teachers are aware of all these kinds of disadvantages of using the internet in this age of globalization. That's the answer.
I think your question is answered. So, any more questions? No. I give some inputs for Imam, our guest, and his co-author. I have no problem with the title. But again, in academic writing, the title is something which should be very, very reflective of the actual content of your paper, which may run for pages, in the different section. Here, your paper's title is The Digital Divide. Ernest?
Yes, sir.
You look it, right?
Yes, sir.
The repercussions of internet shutdown on research scholars in Manipur University. Right?
Yes, sir.
It is pinpointed. And in academic write-up, what we do is we find some phenomenon, some problem, and try to seek solution. But in the limitation statement you said about it,
yes,
you are set with that limitation statement which you have spoken about at the end. But again, still, to enrich your paper, what I believe is, if you avoid this kind of Manipur University, which is very, very limiting, it understates the issue, the problem, and especially and temporarily also. So, what I think is, if you reframe the title it will be very, very positive
Yes.
in the context of the paper which you have presented briefly. Now, you need to link what is digital divide. Here it seems to be very, very outlandish for me.
Yes.
Two balls apart.
Yes, sir.
If you talk about digital divide and get to in the researchers stage at university, so you need to think about the title. That is what I think. And regarding the representation, whenever you collect the data from 3 or 4 departments, only from a university,
Yes.
no issue. But it's all about the stage of education, the level of education, university level of education. That can be replicated, replicable or not. That is to be seen in future. But when you take up such kind of research, then I think, this is my personal opinion, you need not to reflect the limitations in the title itself. You should not be self-constant there. What you can do is in the methodology part, you can say, we have collected the data from limited number of respondents. Like it, you can do justice to your paper, your efforts, to your authors' efforts. Because writing paper is not easy again, and then to research based. All the best, you know,
Thank you, sir, for your suggestions. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, Sonia, no, please.
Sonia, which one is yours? Silena. Oh, tabi mo ulit.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Sonia Maitram, research scholar at Department of Mass Communication under Dr. Natasha Langbam, and today I'm going to speak on the topic impact of Facebook misinformation on social cohesion and public perception in Manipur. When we talk about social media, we all know what social media is. When we say social media, the very first thing that comes to our mind is Facebook, Instagram, X, previously known as Twitter. And if you are going to connect it professionally, then we remember LinkedIn and all. Okay, this is the data. How many social media users are there? And when I did a research in 2020, the data that I have is 4.14 billion people. That is 53% of total world population was using social media. And in 2018, it was 326.1 million social media users were there in India. And in my particular study, I'm going to focus on the impact of misinformation that we as a citizen of Manipur are facing. The age group that I have selected is 20 and above. And to be honest, I was planning to do the research more on the older age group, but unfortunately, I'm not able to get much data from their category. And I used a snowball sampling also. I set a 25 set of questions. As I have limited time, I was able to collect only 152 online forms. Okay, out of this, 152 respondent from the LGBTQIA plus community, I am able to get only one respondent. Maybe this is because of the time limitation. And from the educational qualification, it is all mentioned over here. And for the age group, okay, it is mentioned here the majority of respondent is from 31 to 40 years of age, and for
from 60 plus, I got only 7 respondents. And from 51 to 60 years age group, I got 10 respondents. That is 6.6% of the 6.6% of the total respondent. And this is the frequency of Facebook usage. All of us that are sitting over here, we use Facebook on a daily basis. Even I was scrolling through the Facebook before I come for this presentation. So I won't say we, but I belong to this daily Facebook user, somebody who uses Facebook on a daily basis. And this is the question when I asked the respondent, like, why do we use Facebook? We get the maximum response to follow news or events. Nowadays, we don't wait for 7:30 p.m. news or early morning newspaper, because whatever we want, it's already available in our hand. Everything is at our fingertips. Every information is at our fingertips. And the only disadvantages that we have of information at our fingertips is just negative impact, that is spreading of misinformation. There is another question, like what type of misinformation we encountered on Facebook, the spreading of fake news articles. I believe that all of us who is sitting in this classroom have one or the other way a victim of misinformation. And we all know what consequences we have seen, mostly in online communities. Okay, before this, there is a question like how concerned we are when misinformation is being circulated in Facebook. So out of the 152 respondents, 80% of them responded like they are very much concerned about misinformation being circulated in Facebook. And around 36.2%, they say that they are somewhat concerned about misinformation being circulated in Facebook. Okay, this is what motivates you to share the content forward. Okay, whenever we come across any reels or videos, something which is interesting to us, why do we share forward? Sometimes, I'll talk about myself. Sometimes whenever I come across a reels or a video, what I do is, maybe you can call me lazy or I don't know, but we never verify it. I will send it forward to one of my friends and ask, have you seen about it? Do you know about this? Is it true? Is it authentic? This is the data that I get, like to verify the authenticity by sharing forward. Okay. For this, whoever have encountered misinformation, I got a respondent of 118 people who have responded like they have encountered misinformation being circulated in Facebook. And this question is very interesting, like what motivates you to share the content forward? Here I have mentioned like to verify the authenticity by sharing forward, because we don't want to check in a particular website, we don't want to check like how authentic it is. And sometimes what happens is for emotional appeal, like when we see a video, we know that it is generated by AI also, like videos like about dogs or cats. For emotional appeal, we tend to share it forward, even though we know that it is generated by AI and it's not real. When I asked like whether somebody changed their opinion after encountering misinformation, 71 respondents said like that is 46.7% said like their opinion got changed after hearing all this misinformation. Yes. Okay, when we come across such a situation, I think all of us might have faced this. Sometimes we try our best to clarify them, to give them the factual information. Here I would like to quote an example. recently ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯃꯩꯇꯩꯒꯤ ꯏꯃꯣꯏꯅꯨ ꯇꯧꯈꯤꯕ ꯍꯟꯗꯛꯀꯤꯗꯣ ꯏꯃꯣꯏꯅꯨꯒꯤꯗ ꯏꯃꯣꯏꯅꯨ ꯅꯨꯃꯤꯠꯁꯦ ꯏꯃꯣꯏꯅꯨ ꯅꯠꯇꯦ ꯏꯃꯣꯏꯅꯨꯒꯤ ꯃꯃꯥꯡꯒꯤ ꯄꯨꯡꯗꯣ ꯏꯃꯣꯏꯅꯨꯅꯤꯅ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ same thing it happened to my family ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯏꯃꯥꯒ ꯏꯄꯥꯒꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯌꯦ ꯃꯣꯏꯅ ꯏꯃꯣꯏꯅꯨꯁꯦ ꯉꯁꯤꯅꯤ ꯉꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯄꯨꯡꯁꯤꯗ ꯂꯣꯏꯈ꯭ꯔꯦ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯌꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯗꯤ ꯅꯠꯇꯦ ꯃꯣꯏꯒꯤ just to get their views and likes ꯃꯣꯏꯅ ꯁꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ fake information ꯊꯥꯗꯣꯔꯛꯄꯅꯤ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ factual information that I try to educate them ꯑꯗꯨꯕꯨ ꯃꯣꯏ ꯀꯩꯁꯨ ꯇꯥꯗꯦ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯇꯧꯋꯦ some argument ꯃꯛꯇꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯔꯣꯏ ꯑꯗꯨꯕꯨ at the end they win aduga moina pamba pung and moina pamba numittuda dum taweba haibadi that 11 gi nate 12 la keno moi gi that 12 ta tawgadaba do tawdaba makai moina pame haidu na ngakhatna mayam na tawnadaba pung du da because my mother saw this in Facebook the real circulate torakpado mayam su khangbiramgani se ai man Facebook the circulate torakpado adugi damakta aduna neina sida age group the 60 plus nama specific oina hapise because they are more susceptible to misinformation aigi imung da thomnina I know it must have happened in akoi mi yung khudimakta so and this sigi conflict kumba tension kumba thingna bra misinformation gi da we must have seen it online communities ki fights we all know and I don't know I won't say I don't know but most of us adum akoi su fight te yawe ba nang hainingi say taning de I don't agree with you whatever you are saying you are this you are that I won't use any community name but we all know we fought a lot and we use I don't know what all sort of languages we use in Facebook especially Facebook te am to because Manipur dadi Facebook is a platform where we all of us are a part of it okay and as an individual sidadi moi responses sumaina di haire ko like we will avoid sharing without fact checking 112 respondent they responded that they will do fact checking first and share but I really doubt we won't do it kanam tawroi this aigi belief maktina te but I really doubt because akoi su tawde ba I mean the emotional appeal the phangaga and we try to do that okay and from the findings I concluded that majority of us uses Facebook on a daily basis and there is one question in my study like have you ever unfriended anybody over a disagreement over misinformation and out of this 152 respondent I got 63 respondent who have said that is 41.4% like yes I have misfriended this person or that person because of the disagreement which we come across because of a misinformation in social media this is my finding and I have added like further studies can be done on older age group because as I have mentioned that they are more prone to misinformation they think whatever they see on Facebook or YouTube this is the two platforms that they really use aduda I know the pizza give example the imoinu gido same thing it's happening hidak amagi hairaga su aingonda thoksaba do nei na haizari sidi esigi hidak se saradi si phaiye nang lokhuri do si sasalu nang adu tai do du toksalu it happens it's happening and it's happening to all of our family that's all thank you
Well presented.
Thank you,
And,
sir.
Again, very I do know from so harame. Lana di loro no improvement gini ako iti. What's in the name? That which you call rose, you call it any other name, still it will smell the same. Rose di mami naman puro su rose I do name. At the body guide. So now I can kinati ako yung benefit kini. Na kana usuya ay perspective to anybody. Ming kada hanos wire academic writing kita ako na title ibasi ang section na ito. Sila so niya so niya title do. Nag-isip ko I have no authority on that and women would not like to do that also. Impact of Facebook, misinformation. And if you read Facebook misinformation, it carries different meaning, totally different. You try to close your eyes and just think what it says, right? you just go through that and revisit, just to revisit.
Yes, sir.
Yes. When you read together, Facebook misinformation and what the connotations are, right? Nuances you think about it. And on social cohesion and public perception. So which one should come first and which one later on these two? Social cohesion or public perception? No, this is up to Sonia. Right, but again, I'm just asking this question individually. You try to reflect on it, and if you were to give this title, how you will put social cohesion first or public perception first? This is what for you all, not for Sonia. Sonia has given a name, and if you rename it, still it will smell the same. So no need to change, Sonia. But you must be knowing the nuances of this title. But again, I'm just requesting you to revisit, and if you can get some benefit out of our interaction here, then it will be very good for you. Now, you have done a good paper. I think, any question?
Yeah, sure. In fact, the problem of this generation is that the PhD scholars stop facing the book, rather Facebooking. You know, they're more into Facebook. I mean, even Dr. Mina, we were the victim of that. The kind of misinformation.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Again, the uses of the word misinformation and disinformation. So this information is deliberately, intentionally you are trying to mislead or misguide, for some personal benefits or whatsoever. That is, misinformation could have been a spelling mistake, right?
Yes, sir.
That is again in case if instead of Wi-Fi, you're supposed to write a W-I-F-I. If you forgot to dot the I, then
Yeah.
it becomes E like Y.
Yes,
right?
exactly,
So
sir.
that is serious, right? So
Exactly,
that
sir.
could be misinformation. However, very interesting thing you have done the research, the survey and all, right? Another one is that you can draw or apply certain theoretical perspectives, like it's Dept and London, right? That is, I forgot that exactly the words, the name of the title is like, information richness theory. That's wonderful. It's totally based on this,
Okay, sir.
social media and all the technologies, right? So that could have been more, noteworthy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, Sonia might have done it paper, because she is not able to present the whole paper here because of time constraint. So all the best, Sonia.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank
So
you.
now, Robinson Wangmo, please you present the paper.
Thank you, sir, for sparing me some time. I'm Robinson Wahingbam, a research scholar of Mass Communication Department, and I'm also a journalist working as the chief reporter of Sana Lebak Delhi and a photojournalist contributing to Thomson Reuters. So, let me open up with my presentation. Okay. What the? My topic is digital blackout, accessing the impact of internet ban on media houses in Manipur post May 2023. Like we all know, internet services is very much important, and I think it doesn't need to be elaborated on that basis. But when it comes to media houses, like about internet shutdown it's a definition given by One Access Now, an international organization that defends and extends the digital right of people and commitment at risk. Like, such an internet ban, internet shutdown is an intentional disruption of internet or electronic communication, rendering them inaccessible or effectively unusable for a specific population or within a location, often to exert control over the flow of information. Okay, so types of internet shutdown. Actually, I do make lots of slides, so I will just skip some and come to the point. Like, impact of internet ban on media functioning, hamper real-time reporting and fact-checking. And nowadays, fact-checking is very much important with all those information coming from internet sources. And particularly in media houses, which is in a small state like Manipur, where the number of reporters were very much limited. We do rely on internet sources, but it needs to be fact-checked, like cross-check and all, but the internet ban disrupted it a lot. So the local media, heavily reliant on digital tools for communication and dissemination, faces severe setbacks in fulfilling their role as a public watchdog. And you see, like, according to Maslow's hierarchy of need, there were like basic needs like food, clothing, shelter, and it seems like internet is one of them nowadays. So there were some certain things like internet bans in India, which is very much common, like restricting media and information through internet shutdown has been a means to control movement in India for a very long time. Like, it has been quoted in many agencies, like many papers and all previously. Some newspaper about India leads the world shutdown count for the past 6 years. So, about 73. So the digital blackout in Manipur. From May 3rd, following the outbreak of the violence between the Kuki and the Meitei communities in Manipur, the government imposes a statewide internet ban. This internet initiative to curb the spread of misinformation and inflammatory content disrupted access to mobile internet, broadband, social media platforms. Initially implemented as a short-term measure, the ban was extended multiple times, leaving citizens, journalists, business disconnected for months. So I went to the Home Department and collected all the relevant documents of the internet ban. Like, I use some of my resources as a journalist, so I went there and collected all the papers. So I got the exact numbers. Like, since the violence started on May 3rd, the remaining 241 days of the year, broadband, Wi-Fi, mobile internet was banned for 142 days, and the mobile internet for almost 210 days. That is the exact figure which I got from the Home Department official sources. And post-May 2023, out of the 8 months of a year, post-May, May of the 2023, 7 months where internet services were banned, mobile internet services were banned, and some restricted internet services were provided. So in 2024, internet was banned for another 41 days in that year. So the number of days internet was banned in Manipur since May 2023 till December 2024, out of 586 days since 3rd of May to 9 December, the day which the internet ban was relieved. So it was 279 days of internet ban, which is almost 47%. So my objective of the study is how the blackout affected journalist practices and news disseminations, challenges faced by the media organization in adapting to offline methods of reporting, like, and then broader implication of such bans on democracy, public access to credible information, and trust in media during a crisis. So my research methodology is like this. I make a questionnaires, Google Forms, and send it to my colleague from the All Manipur Working Journalists Union. So I got 61 respondents. So my question of the questionnaire were based on general questions, studies about internet dependency, studies the impact of internet ban, look into the challenges faced by the media houses, 6 alternative measures for the way forward, studies the socio-political implication, and 6 recommendations too. So from that research, I got that 63.9 were severely impacted by the internet ban in the state, while 31% had moderate impact. Almost everyone is impacted. More than 90% faced challenges in collecting visual evidence regarding news reporting. Also, it affected their... Oh, I forgot about the microphone. it affected the fact checking of the news sources. Therefore, they mostly relied on secondary sources in covering news and incident and personal network and context, like we usually do. Reliance on alternative news sources hindered timely reporting. Most respondents, 73.8%, believe that an internet ban on controlled socio-political tension is ineffective, while 42.6% reported a significant decrease in the trust in media. To mitigate the impact of internet ban, 72% recommended faster whitelist approval for journalists, 37% suggested alternative communication technologies, and 35% advocated for restricted internet access for media houses. Actually, the Manipur government ordered some information about the whitelisting of the media personnel, but it doesn't work that way. Like, it's a long process and keeps on monitoring this and that. So it's quite difficult for us to access the internet during that time. So on the conclusion, the internet blackout significantly impacted media houses, restricting their ability to gather and disseminate information. It forces them to reduce coverage and rely on secondary sources, weakening the depth of reporting. Additionally, it erodes public trust in the media, exacerbating tension instead of easing them. The lack of reliable information also fuels the unchecked spread of disinformation or misinformation. The way forward, some suggestions I would say: allow unrestricted internet access for media houses and the personals during such time of internet ban and this and that. Expedite whitelist approval process. Ensure real-time update from government through offline channels. Promote alternative communication technologies. Yeah, that's all, sir.
Very, very important paper. Any question from the
Yeah, any questions?
His presentation reminds me of a famous aphorism, sir. It says, if you don't use internet, you are uninformed. But if you do use internet, you are misinformed. The conundrum of this technological.
Any question? No, again. Popular writer, popular column, popular article mo may with the newspaper that headline and the sensational way about the academic writing the section of the moon. See, I put something up to heavy in oil that no that would be more than Seattle. With excuse from my colleagues, right? Blackout this Delhi. Kind of. He got the keyword number Robinson for a royal, Robinson for a royal. That's why that this Delhi was hiring now. The way got the keyword, there was about specific with the use of no one of the book. West is money, we'll see. Are you working go? Where's the landlord? Assessing the impact of internet ban on media houses. I wrote the conclusion to second. But you never talk to it. Conclusion. You go to the conclusion slide. Say, sigat the name of Mator media, the president. I tell the this out here. I tell listener reflect of the name. Media house na labor problem internet is Robinson na B61 dah ngeba. Journalist na name. Media house ka journalist ka sum keneba. Journalist ini reporting the labor problem neba. Robinson na idoisi. Irisi na tra. Media house is sustainable. Media house is big. But many journalists yes to the journalist na taba employment actually. Media the house the economy so makini. Economy the do not stop the internet blackout digital blackout again media house na print example piracy publication blackout day adu so non media house adu sum nagi problem do reporting da reporter da journalists nothing no problem ne bane ni right other than mingu considered we are change the we are
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
no I did discuss
Yeah.
but titles are titles like media house I go hey say CBC nan mana some folks in the can align the way already out of with the reason your reason otherwise they more pinpointed or row the right up to you right and this is what I can say now so all the best sir.
Thank you for the suggestion, sir.
See, it also always says if you have a good research topic, that means half of your research done. Okay, so that you have to see the nomenclature itself, it reflects. Thank you for the suggestion, sir. Next to
Hamam Windy sir. Okay.
Oh, Windy.
Windy.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Hema. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Hema Windichanu, research scholar of this department. Today, I'll be presenting on my paper, Ethical Standards in Citizen Journalism, Navigating the New Frontier. Since I have been provided a very limited time, I'll try to sum it up very quick and go to the findings. So citizen journalism has emerged as a very powerful force because of the advancement in digital era. And however, but the lack of professional training raises ethical dilemmas, including
It's not there. It's coming. Is it audible? Is it audible? It'll be a little loud and let's see if it works or not. Just let me check. 3, 2, 1, 0. Is it not working? Yeah, okay, start from the beginning.
Okay, I'll start again. Citizen journalism has emerged as a powerful tool as a result of the advancement in the digital era. However, the lack of professional training faces ethical dilemma, including issues of accuracy, objectivity, and responsibility. This study investigates the ethical standards maintained by these citizen journalists. So these are my research questions. So the objectives are to examine the ethical standards followed by these media administrators, to identify the challenges faced in maintaining accountability and accuracy, and to understand the motivation behind running these unregistered media pages. So I'll just give the literature review. And for this study, I employed a qualitative descriptive design utilizing a structured questionnaire to collect the data from these media admins. The sample size is 23 respondents, focusing on those who are operating in Manipur. For the sampling method, I use non-probability sampling approach, purposive and snowball sampling. I use purposive sampling because the respondents should be media administrators. So findings and discussions. The survey revealed that the respondents' ages range from 24 to 42. This indicates that Citizen journalism are largely dominated by younger individuals who are more likely tech-savvy with these digital media platforms. And in terms of gender representation, 95.7 respondents were male. So there is like a very little representation of female respondents. It suggests that women might face greater barriers entering this field, whether due to safety concerns, societal norms, or lack of opportunities. And regarding education, most of the respondents are highly educated, like the least educated falls under graduate. And I think one of them has the MPhil degree. Despite their formal education, only 17.4 had informal or formal media training, while 82.6 had none. This lack of journalism education raises concerns about these journalists, how these journalists navigate ethical challenges. And 47.8 respondents have been managing their pages for 1 to 3 years, showing that the most citizen journalists in this study are relatively new to the field. And I think it also reflects the fact that due to this Manipur crisis in the recent years, there has been boom in citizen journalists. And a smaller group, that is 17.4%, that is 4 respondents, have been active for 5 or more years, reflecting a long-term dedication to independent journalism. When it comes to social media, like Sister Sonia Maitra mentioned, Facebook is the most popular platform here for the citizen journalism because of this wider audience reach, ease of sharing news, and multimedia capabilities. Meanwhile, YouTube is also very popular, suggesting that the citizen journalists are creating video-based content. I think this is more interactive, and not necessarily interactive, but interesting to watch, and all this visual impact. And in contrast, Instagram and Twitter are significantly less. For the audience reach, for the audience reach, 43.5 is 1,000 to 10,000 and 10,000 to 50,000. So we can conclude that most of them has more than they have thousands of followers on this media pages. So it suggests that many of these journalists command a significant online audience. Hence, hence their reporting can influence public opinion. However, this also comes with greater responsibility to ensure accuracy, objectivity, and they have to have this, ethic responsibility. When it comes to motivation, the data suggests that primary force behind these unregistered media pages is the need to highlight specific issues or crises as indicated by 52.2 majority. This can also imply that the citizens or citizen journalists or these media admins feel that some topics are underrepresented in the mainstream media. And the second most significant motivation at 21.7 is the desire to provide an alternative to mainstream media. And when it comes to fact-checking and verification, the majority of the respondents reported that they often verify information before posting, and 34.8 of the respondents always verify the information. This suggests that fact-checking is a common process, but they don't necessarily fact-check it for every post they upload. And for the fact-checking sources, the data information verifies that mainstream media and official government sources, 87% both, were used as a fact-checking source. This also signifies the legacy of this, institutional organization, government organization, that only credible news are informed by these organizations. However, 52.2 respondents were also reported using social media, and I think this is quite problematic, using social media as a fact-checking source, because like everyone has presented, there has been disinformation going around in social media. The 21.7% cited independent journalists demonstrate a smaller but notable trust in non-mainstream media, including freelance or citizen journalism. I would like to point out that these media analysts, they have social media groups that unite all of them, and I think they also share news in that group. just like the IPR is doing. And when it comes to handling misinformation, a majority. Okay.
The PowerPoint presentation is advertising in power, like for like we are reading a newspaper article.
I'll directly come to the conclusion. So I have the citizen has emerged due to. Wait. Okay, I'll point out the important parts. The majority of the respondents claim to verify information before posting, yet only few of them ensure accuracy, highlighting a gap in rigorous verification practice. Challenges such as limited access to credible news, pressure to post quickly, and fear of legal repercussion further complicate ethical reporting among these respondents. However, the study also underscored a strong willingness among respondents to participate in ethical training, indicating growing awareness of the need of responsible journalism. And I think I missed it in the slide, but when asked about their goal, about monetization and all, I think 82% of them want to monetize their media page, which also implies the rise of commercialized citizen journalism in Manipur. I think that's all, sir.
Any question to Wendy? Question? Indeed, presented the paper, and I think I have a little to give as input because your presentation was elaborate. The only problem I perceive is whether it's here or not, your methodology, right? Sampling the respondents. So you just revisit it, otherwise it's a good paper. Okay, all the best. Next, Raniwala. Oh, sorry, Ramba Devi Mayangam and Namba representing.
Visible oil ko. Light ki kanu. Sino to light. Increase to ulo. Ito oil ko.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I am Ramba Devi Mariambam, and the title of my paper is Marginalized and Misrepresented, Analyzing Media Coverage of the Manipur Conflict in the Hindu and the Indian Express. Okay, so I'll just give a brief contextual overview of the issue. So despite rising media consumption, Northeast India and specifically Manipur often remains underrepresented and misrepresented in mainstream national media. So this absence from national discourse is concerning, especially when we consider the ongoing ethnic violence in the state since May of 2023. So I'll just jump to the objectives of the study. To analyze the frequency and themes of Manipur coverage in the Hindu and the Indian Express, to identify the dominant frames used in the coverage, to examine the role of cultural biases and sensationalism in shaping the narrative, to explore how limited media access contributes to the marginalization of Manipur. So I'll just come to the methodology. So qualitative study is being used, content analysis and framing analysis. So for data collection, I've used the archives of the Hindu and the Indian Express. I've made focus on headlines, language, and visual addressing Manipur's socio-political issues and ethnic violence. As for data analysis, so there's this new app. Just recently, there was a workshop done, so I tried using it at last.ti. I'm kind of, how should I say, experimenting on it.
So coding for themes, frames, tone, and resources. So I developed 99 codes, and which I further grouped it into another 14 code groups. So the time frame I've chosen is from January of 2024 to January 2025, because this is like after the conflict. So like there's a question of like what kind of news are being published in this mainstream newspapers. So I hope it's visible. So these are some of the codes and code groups. So theoretical framework, I just use critical media theory, which looks at how media acts as a tool of power that shapes public perception by reinforcing. Okay. So coming to the key findings. Okay, so when I went through all the archives of the newspaper, I came across like 345 articles on Manipur and issues related to Manipur in the Indian Express, and almost around 445 articles in the Hindu. And then the finding shows that there is a clear dominance of conflict-related coverage, with over 70% of the article focusing on violence, insurgency, and law and order issues. Unfortunately, less than 10% of the coverage addresses like important socio-political, cultural, and developmental topics. They could provide a fuller picture of the situation of Manipur. So, and then coming to like the frequency of coverage. The frequency of it like tends to spike only during the crisis. There is a heavy reliance on emotive language that often amplifies the sensational aspects of violence. We also observe that the media predominantly uses images of like protests, armed forces, and destruction, further reinforcing the conflict-centric narrative. This slide also shows how like the grassroots voices are often neglected, with coverage mostly drawn from like official sources, and there's a disproportionate emphasis on militarization and security forces. This I'll try and show it. So I used the Atlas TI, and when I used all the headlines, mostly I focused on the headlines. I drew up all the headlines of the various articles that I've picked up, and then this words, as you can see, the frequency of the words like violence, and then justice, politics, debt, these things. These are the words that are frequently used in the headlines. And then again, I just picked up 3 articles. As you can see, the imagery they used. This is not just only for these 3 articles. Like almost all the 500 articles, like almost 80% of it, I should say, they use such kind of like violence imagery. And so biases are being observed. There are biases within the coverage. There is a minimal focus on other aspects such as like education, healthcare, and infrastructure in Manipur. Like cultural stereotypes are reinforced through the sensationalized headlines and images, leading to a portrayal of Manipur as a conflict zone. This results in oversimplification and a lack of necessary context, which further distorts the public understanding of the region of Manipur. So coming to the conclusion, so I just want to summarize the main findings. Mainstream media coverage of Manipur has largely been conflict-driven, with sensationalism, cultural biases, and limited access to grassroots voices, playing a significant role in the misrepresentation of the state. This results in lack of nuanced reporting, which overlooks the positive strides being made in terms of resilience, development, cultural revival. Like how should I say this? Like any positive news, they are hardly being published. And then while it's critical, it's important to report on the violence and displacement, it's equally important to highlight peace-building efforts. So like this piece...
Next.
I just had something. Leads, right? So only when the violence occurs, then only the state comes to the breaking news or in the front page, right? Yeah, in fact, this is how this whole idea of this sensationalism, right, and commercialization of information, right? But that is again, like we need to research upon and we need to study upon, right? And we have to make a breakthrough and study. And it was wonderful, Ramba, you have presented.
Thank you, sir. Rohini, please. Then next presenter is Hobism Singlemba. So Singlemba, you go ahead and present your topic. All the best, sir.
I can wait. You can do. I understand.
No, nice. All this.
A very good afternoon to everyone present here. Respected our chairperson, Dr. Nawaz Khan, Assistant Professor of Rajugan University, Department of Mass Communication, all the presenters, and everyone present here. My name is Hawi Jamchingan Mamaite, pursuing my master's in Department of Mass Communication, second semester, and the title of my paper is Internet Blackouts and Civil Unrest, the Manipur Experience. And again, I think this title can be improved much better. I hope our chairperson recommend me. So, due to the constraint of time, I will not waste much of the time. I'll just go forward with it. The table of the contents, introduction, research question, objective, methodology, findings and discussions, and finally conclusion. Okay, with the advent of internet, high-speed internet, information communication technology, internet-enabled devices, and democratization of social media, a lot of people of Manipur are also very much active on new media and other social media platforms. Due to this, a lot of, with the context of this current issue which we are having, a lot of contents are shared across, mostly audio-visual based, which are, because internet and social media does not have the gatekeeping process and the filtration process, it is not censored, right? So without any censor, they just share it across anywhere, and because of that, it triggers and it's an explicit content so that it hurts the sentiments of the people. And that's why it affects the law and order situation of Manipur. I'll just go to the research question. Our research question 1, what are the social factors which leads to internet ban in Manipur? To what extent is the internet ban effective in maintaining law and order? Is internet ban a violation of fundamental human rights or a necessary evil? The objective of this research are to analyze the relationship between the civil unrest and internet ban in Manipur, to explore the factors which leads to the internet ban in Manipur, to find out if internet ban is a fundamental human rights violation or a necessary evil. Methodology. I have employed a mixed method approach in which quantitative data were collected through Google Trend to pinpoint the internet interest and the activities online. In the context of Manipur, uses of internet in Manipur, and the study is explanatory in nature as it attempts to uncover and explain the cause, intention, and consequence of internet shutdowns in Manipur. And it also has undertone of exploratory in nature, because I try to connect the data which I have taken from Google Trend with the incidents, overlaying incidents which took place, like the external aggression or maybe the firing between the two varying communities, and the internet shutdown follows that. So the pattern repeats. First, there is the incident, then there is protest and civil unrest, and then there is internet shutdown, and when the law and order situation is kind of recovered, the internet is lifted again. And they repeat again, it repeats again and again. So, findings, the main findings are, as you can see, this is the data, what is this? It's cute. Yeah. So, this is the data from Google Trend on the 3rd of May. So in the span of just 1st May and 2nd May, the search interest of cookie and mayday were very low. Around cookie for the word cookie, it was around 0 on 1st May and around 20 on 2nd May. On the 3rd May, it just spiked up to 100. And internet shutdown was employed by the government to control the situation. And then it came down slowly by slowly. So that spike, that increase in the use of activity is kind of the evidence that people were very much actively sharing informations and which are unverified, a lot of rumors and fake news, and which actually fuel the situation. Yeah. This is also another instance of a targeted internet ban. On September 10, 2024, man was killed by a rocket launch, and other four to five individuals were killed. And so, because of that, a lot of protests took out in the Valley district of Manipur. And with that protest, it was yet again followed by the internet ban. And as you can see, it was the ban was on 10th of September, and then from 100, it came down to 0. So that's the thing. And I have framed the findings with some theoretical framework of media dependency. Yeah, I'll just skip. Agenda setting and spiral of silence. So conclusively, this paper attempts to suggest that shutdowns isolate protesters and mitigates against any possible malicious activities, sensationalism, and seals the sentiments of the people. So that was the basic reason of the Indian state government to ban the internet. So that's the illustration. There is the incident, and then the protest follows. So to control the mob and the public, they shut down the internet, and then when the law and order is controlled, it's again lifted. And then when the next incident takes place, it repeats. The pattern repeats. So the relationship between internet ban and civil unrest is kind of unidirectional. So internet ban does not trigger civil unrest. Civil unrest triggers internet ban. So it's one directional. Civil unrest is proactive and internet ban is reactive, while the main incident is the primary, secondary factor of internet ban. But the primary factor are the civil unrest, the protests, uprisings, and other law and order situation. Thank you.
Well presented. Any questions for us?
Yeah, let's take up some questions. It's a very knowledge. Listen, sir.
So, do you really support banning internet whenever there is violence in Manipur? And if so, because this is really affecting our academic also. So, any recommendations have you ever come across during your research paper? Any recommendations so that, because I foresee many more internet blackouts and internet ban.
Thank you for the question, sir. I think it is kind of little bit important to ban sometimes, because the government of Manipur they ban internet due to the law and order situation to save the physical life of the public, right? By compromising on the spiritual and mental freedom of speech and expression. And I have recommended, in the conclusion, I missed the point, but I have recommended that there could be a balanced approach to this, like proper utilization of artificial intelligence internet moderation tool, and also they can spread awareness on media literacy to the people of Manipur, and also to be more sensitive and bring up this environmental, ethnic friendly, identity friendly, gender friendly environment on social medias like Facebook and WhatsApp, and lastly to form a proper committee on fact checking experts. Right. I think I have answered the question.
Any more questions? No. Remember, again, you go through your database.
Okay.
चलिए देखते हैं. This is one of the best titles. Out and the civil unrest. these are the two variables he was coordinating. Right?
Yes, sir.
One in dependent, independent kind of things. Throughout his presentation, he has shown us the robust methodology and leave alone the findings. Whatever he comes up with any finding, it is true to him, his finding. It may be replicable to somewhere, to some context or not. Apart from that, the methodology and theoretical framework are very good for your paper. So all the best. Right?
Thank you,
So
sir.
the last one. Any other
General was nice, but it's not explanatory, it's exploratory by nature, okay? The research methodology. Wonderful, you did a marvelous job, right? And the final one, I guess, will be the last one, right?
So, this is Tera. Wasim. Please.
It's here, right? Can you adjust this? You can do it? Okay. This is the one, try. It's coming like this. The problem is yes. No, it's still not. One thing, okay, do this. Here it is, right? It comes this way.
We can just keep it like this.
This is also fine, no? Okay. Yeah, I'll give the rest of the final.
Hi, hello. Good afternoon. My name is Tera Varitan Vashin. I'm currently pursuing my PhD under Natasha ma'am. I know we're all exhausted and tired, so I'll keep it very brief. The title of my research is Reframing Northeast India, Role of OTT in Shaping Narratives. Before I go into my presentation, I'd like to define what OTT means. We all know, like most people know Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hotstar, but if I mention OTT, they ask me what is it. So Netflix, Prime, Hotstar, YouTube, this all comes under the umbrella of OTT. OTT is a platform OTT platform is a service that delivers video and audio contents to users over the internet. Instead of through cable or satellite, OTT platforms are often accessed through apps. So that's the difference between OTT and the traditional media. My research tries to explore the emerging role of OTT platforms in shaping the narratives about Northeast India and its people. Traditionally, Northeast has been underrepresented or misrepresented. If you're wondering why I've used this particular picture and what this picture represents, there's an anecdote to this. This is a clip from a movie called Ye Gulista Hai Hamara, from a movie from the 1970s. So there's an anecdote to this, so I'll share it with you. In one of my conversation with a prominent underground figure, General V.S. Atem of NSNIM, he told us that his first thrust of confronting the state was because of this movie when he was studying in Shillong. This movie was based on an Indian agent going over to a Chinese bordering village in Northeast. So, and it was misrepresented so much that it angered the student community in Shillong, and they protested. So Northeast India has historically been underrepresented or misrepresented by traditional media, often reduced to stereotypes like exotic, backward, or tribal. The picture itself is self-explanatory. The region's diverse cultures, languages, and identities are frequently ignored and inaccurately portrayed, spreading biases. And the role of OTT comes in this. OTT, the rise of OTT platform is challenging the established perceptions of by showcasing diverse voices, cultural expressions, and local stories. OTT platforms are also providing more nuanced and authentic representation of the region, exposing viewers to a richer understanding of Northeast history, traditions, landscapes, and people. Platforms like Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, and YouTube are increasingly incorporating contents and films from Northeast India, creating a wider audience for local voices. As a case study, I've taken two films, Akuni and Anek. If you've seen the movie, Akuni explores the life of Northeast Indians living in New Delhi, how they are trying to give a party to their friends. Anek explores the political and social tension in Northeast India. Oja Doren was one of the main lead for this movie as Tiger Sangha, which I believe is a rough representation of T.H. Muiva. These movies confronts the stereotypes, especially it portrays the microaggression that not we as a Northeast normally face when we are living outside Northeast and among the mainland India. It also depicts the political marginalization. It addresses the political conflict and the perception of the region as other within the national discourse. Limitation of the OTT content. Sometimes we see that many of the movies and the series, it oversimplifies the narratives and the stories. It also reinforces the stereotypes. Besides challenging the stereotypes, it also reinforces it, which you will see evidently in Akuni also, where it tries to project the smelly Akuni so much that it becomes a caricature itself. And the other thing is, most of the films are created with a mainland-centric perspective, which tries to cater to the mainstream audiences, and which we as a Northeasterners might not like it, because that tell our story from our perspective, but rather from the mainstream. I did a small survey, and from the small survey, this is the result I got. Majority of respondents reported that OTT content has changed their perception about Northeast India and increased their understanding of region's culture, history, and challenges. One of the surprising results that I found during my research was that rather than Netflix, Amazon, or Hotstar, viewers got more awareness from YouTube channels, and the main agent for this was the travel vlogs, which is accessible on YouTube. It created more awareness about the region. So I guess human-to-human connection is more when it's first-hand. Key takeaways: OTT platforms are providing more authentic and diverse representation of Northeast India. It amplifies local voices and showcases the natural richness. It increases the awareness and empathy among national audiences. Conclusion: OTT platforms have the potential to bridge cultural divides, promote understanding. They are amplifying local voices, showcasing the cultural richness. However, some content still relies on stereotypes and lack depths. More opportunity should be given to creators from region to narrate their own story. Content creators should come to the region and take notes of what's really happening here and portray stories and people that represents the Northeast in its entirety. Thank you.
That was well presented, very pioneering work concerning OTT platform. Any question for Wasim? No. I have no observation. observation. I should not be, because it is very burning, I said. It is really revealing now. Framing and reframing. I want to discuss that much. But it should not affect what you perceive when you started thinking about writing this paper and in the research work. I think in the methodology, you did content analysis. This is how you presented some pictures, as well as you did surveys, right? So from survey, you have taken opinions. Anyways, was it framing in the films? Was it framing or reframing?
It was doing both. I would say. I mean, if you compare it with the traditional media, I guess it was reframing. But from an artisan perspective, from the survey also, this is what I got. It was, being conformed to the mainstream idea of Northeastern. Yeah.
The mainstream media pattern is still there. From the survey, people from outside Northeast, they felt it was reframing. Some from Northeast say no, it was not. It was not reframing it. Okay, I haven't the opportunity to read your papers as of now, so we'll be reading after you get it published. But one point I want you to look into is framing and reframing. So framing is very, very negative. Like Damo Pradeep's slide, some part of the picture is cropped and a different meaning, a different narrative. Sapping narratives. When the media saps narrative, it do some doctrine kind of thing, morphing kind of thing. So in the presentation, if it is framing, then it is negative. Again, reframing is positive most of the time, because it is a review kind of thing. The way in which that particular community has been framed in the media narrative, and it needs reconciliation. That time you do reframing. So just the change from reframing, from framing. So to undo framing is reframing to some extent, not always. Reframing can be from stereotyping to different type of stereotyping. Still, negativity can be still in the reframing also. But my point is, when you use the word reframing, the connotation seems to be very positive at the first glance. So if your finding says it is still framing, then you just try to revisit those titles. This session is also dominated by naming, titling kind of thing. Sorry for that. But still, I think the conclusion part, you just visit. Otherwise, very, very good area of research, and I think very few research papers have been done, particularly with the reshaping of Northeast. Right, we need that. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you so much to our Honorable Dr. Nawaz, Associate Professor at the Department of Mass Communication, the Rajiv Gandhi Central University, Itanagar. I hope with your relentless and a very prolific since yesterday you have been engaged and you have been guiding us and sharing the technical sessions. In fact, it's a very Herculean task that we all together have presented successfully 38 presenters, including the parallel session that we also have with the online session, right? Though it was not in the hybrid mode, but it's truly in a parallel session we did, including our invited talks
Yumnam Rupachandra Singh, Chief Editor, Impact TV, and Rinku Kumuksam, Editor, Imphal Times. And also, I would like to convey my gratitude to our eminent editor, IRAP, Mr. Pradeep Panjalbam, and also Ningthozam Satyajit, Chief Bureau, UNI, and all the presenters. I really appreciate that, the keeping in mind that research in general parlance is adding a knowledge towards the existing knowledge. And I hope that this is going to be a breakthrough in this research arena. And I look forward also, and I wish you all have a great success in all your academic endeavors. And thank you so much, and we look forward for the valedictory ceremony. Thank you. Miss Irida, would you please come and take over? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request our volunteers to come step forward and please present the Lengyan to Sir Nawaz.
Okay.
Please give a warm welcome. Thank you. I request Sir Nawaz to hand over the first 5 certificates to our participants. Ms. Sonia, please step forward. The first participant, the first participant is Prosper Malangmai. Prosper Malangmai. Please give a round of applause. The second participant is Khambir Noru Moyon. A round of applause, please. Next, we have Yumnam Ernest. Yumnam Ernest and Larni Sedlan. Round of applause. Next, Sonia Maitra. Round of applause. Next, we have Mr. Robinson Wahingma. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Next, I'd like to request Sir Satyajit to please hand over the certificates. First, we have Ms. Ramba Devi. Ramba Devi. Round of applause, please. Next, we have Haubijam Chinglemba. Next, Mr. Tera Barethan Washim. Tera Barethan Washim. And last but not the least, Hema Windy Chanu. Thank you, sir. We have finally come to the end of this 2-day national conference on empowering voices in Northeast India. I would like to request all of you to break for lunch for now. We have finally come to the end. Thank you.